Hi, Ian. I've listened to George Norrie and a couple other individuals since tuning into Coast to Coast. As far as your last guest on your show, Lauren, I've had a similar circumstance, which was confirmed by the CIA and law enforcement, where there was a homing device.
By the CIA?
Yeah, there was a relative who has connections.
But
anyway, you're a man who's a Christian. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. But I have something to let you know. I let C-SPAN know earlier last week, and we've been on radio a couple times in America, rather rarely because people don't want the word to get out that Jesus Christ Yahweh is in Australia.
In Australia.
We sent official claims of the throne of England, United Kingdom of Israel, to Queen Elizabeth, the Vatican, Barack Obama, and other notifications to our body of government in Washington, D.C., the head people and the department heads.
How do you happen to know of this in Australia?
Well, he has 3,000 videos, which is at Brian is Yahweh 3 or Brian is Yahweh 1 or Brian is Yahweh 2 on YouTube.
Wait. This is the second coming of Jesus, and his name is Brian, as in the Monty Python movie, The Life of Brian?
Brian means there's different, as we know, and there's English and common names. There's biblical interpretations for people's names. In Revelation, it tells you that he comes back with a name that only he knows and he reveals.
And the name is Brian.
Brian stands for key. Leonard is lion. Golightly is tribe of Judah. Marshall is House of David.
Okay.
My site is Peace Now White Dove at MySpace with condensed revelations and prophecy with videos that are on the blog section. And also Peace Now White Dove on YouTube. We've sent out official notifications which were notarized by an attorney for the Queen in Australia. He sent those out. He had very much difficulty getting this to be processed because they didn't want the official document to go through to her.
Wait. Let me ask, if he's Jesus, if Brian is Jesus, why does he need to do any of that?
Because there's a protocol, because he's incarnated. He had to come by the womb from the heavenly realm, as he did in the Christ timeline, in order to, come back to earth. There's a heavenly realm and an earthly realm. Okay,
but why does he, that still doesn't explain, why does he need to notify the Queen of England?
Because she's sitting on the throne, according to her, one of her things that she's taken an oath to is to hold the throne and release it to Jesus Christ when he returns.
Okay.
Because that's
so this would be, Brian would be taking, theoretically then, she should step aside and Brian should take over at the throne in England.
Exactly. The tribe of Judah, House of David, reigning kings and queens throughout history have been deposed or murdered on the thrones that they have been on. And there have been inceptions of wars that have caused them to get instability and lose their kingdoms by the throats from both sides, from either the Vatican or from the bankers, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers.
Whatever. But I'm just saying, so the idea is he's notifying her that she should step aside.
Right.
And if she doesn't, then what?
Well, the angels are going to intervene by, if you're familiar with, I'm sure George Norrie touches upon, he hits every area of conversation you can imagine. But there's a planet Nibiru, planet X. And,
I'm very familiar with it, right?
The solar system was created by God. The stars were placed in the skies by God.
Yes, I know all that.
Earth,
yes.
We don't have the ability to do that. Most of us don't, right?
Got it. Right. So what is that? How does that pertain to what happens if
February 22nd is he's given them opportunities to change, to repent. Certain of the Illuminatis, who are the people who have been worshiping Lucifer and the fallen angel spirits, that's the Illuminatis. There's 135 million of them in the world. And it's comprised of politicians and world leaders and people in corporations and even celebrities. But and there have been people that have repented. They're changing their ways, stopping, because they're the seeds of Cain.
Because of Brian.
Because they know he's here.
Because Brian's in Australia. Now let me, so if he doesn't, so what happens on February 22nd if the Queen of England doesn't step aside and give her throne to Brian?
Well, the angels, as in history, every 3,600 years, the planet Nibiru comes into the solar system in close range of the Earth. Yeah. And what happens is there's angelic powers that work in the spiritual realm. Okay, if you understand that, there's fallen angels and there's
demonic
spirits.
I'm waiting for the what will happen part.
They create. There's multiple angels. There's like 7 orbiting little, like smaller little asteroids, whatever, going around the planet Nibiru.
Yeah.
They could be directly led to aim at. They could aim at the Vatican, the Throne of England, Washington, D.C. It has a laser ability. Right now, the angels have destroyed some of the underground facilities, like under Washington, D.C., with the cities and installations, and also by, is it Los Alamos, that area where they're doing the deep underground military bases, where they're doing the cloning and all that kind of crap.
They're doing cloning there?
Well, they're doing things that they shouldn't do that would be defy go against God's creation.
So lasers coming from the moons around planet. No,
it's like little like if you can imagine a nucleus and atom.
No, I get it. But you're saying, I thought you said lasers were or light was gonna come down and maybe destroy.
The angels can actually direct it, and they have plans that if these people don't repent by February 22nd, they're given 20 days of grace. They've already been offered the opportunity to repent and get given grace and forgiveness for no matter what they've done, including the mortal sin of satanic ritual human sacrifice, eating another person, drinking the blood, and we know that goes on, and that's why there's so many missing children and adults.
Okay. So what's going to happen February 22nd is that if Brian will be established, then the angels will take their revenge. What happens if nothing happens on February 22nd?
What happens if nothing happens?
What happens if nothing happens?
We're in a wind down right now. If you know anything about the Milky Way, if you know about...
I get that, but what happens in your theology, in your cosmology? What happens if nothing happens on February 23rd and you wake up and the Queen is still on her throne and the Vatican's there? And
I said, and then 20 days of grace.
Okay, so then it's 20 days of grace after the 22nd?
Then March 13th, the vengeance of Yahweh, that's the creation name of God, Jesus Christ.
Right. So it's right around St. Patrick's Day.
Just like in preceding years where you see the ruins of the Temple of Zeus, or in certain areas of the world where you see ruins, that was an impact from the lasers or the asteroids in combination with the asteroids done by the angelic realm. God has been working in New Guinea. He's been on TV in New Guinea. There's a news reporter named, by last name of Marshall, who was not related, but got the news story on Australian broadcast about his cure for AIDS and cancer, and actually spending his pension money to cure the poor people in New Guinea and supplementing 3 families and setting up 3 primitive clinics to use colloidal silver, ozonation, MMS to...
We're getting off the subject here, but I just want to on the...
Let me explain. I said
no, I don't have a... wait, hold on, wait. Just let's not lose sight of the fact that as much as...
35 books that Lulu...
Wait. We've had 8 minutes here. I don't want... It just can't be you talking over me. So here's the... so bottom line is March 13th then, not the 22nd of February. That begins the 20 days of grace. But on March 13th, that is the cutoff. And then after that, that's when there will be these lasers coming from the moons around Planet X.
The physical property of physics of a laser. It has a brain capacity where it can be that specific to do things like the Vatican was notified by me and Yahweh and other saints with registered mail. That's why my car had a homing device. That's why I've been shot at twice. That's why I'm protected.
Because are you an angel?
I'm one of the saints reincarnated. I've lived before.
You are one of the. Which one of the saints are you? Which one of the saints are you?
Well, my primary saint name is Mary Ruth, actually, and actually was Teresa. That's why I said Teresa. Teresa was a nun who had lived in the past. I also was Tribe of Judah, House of David, Queen of all nations.
Okay.
That's why I had to send out a notice to cease and desist to Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, the Congress, the Senate, the governors, international foreign embassies, the heads of state, the Vatican, Queen Elizabeth, and Prince Charles.
I got it. So
I've done those before in history. I know how to do that. I've conducted terms of war and terms of peace and truces. So God is giving them an opportunity to repent. And the other thing,
okay, wait. I gotta wrap this up. But I have one other question. So what happens then on March 14th if nothing happens on the 13th?
God exerts His wrath. The vengeance comes.
I get it. But if nothing happens on the 14th, then what are you going to do? What does that mean to you if nothing happens? Well, if nothing happens, what does it mean to you?
He has a measurement of the Earth, all the different things. He had 3,000 videos. They took down his original site at Michelle and I on YouTube last summer. So some of the videos were lost. But he does have remaining proofs of who he is, the measure of the Earth, the pyramid series.
Okay, that's fine.
George Norrie and Alex Jones. Alex Jones knows his here.
Okay, I'm just saying, so Brian, I understand, but Brian, if nothing happens on March 14th, then what do you do? Will you reconsider whether or not Brian was Jesus if nothing happens on March?
I won't reconsider because I've had sniper attacks at me. I've had Manchurian candidates try to go after me.
Manchurian candidates have come after you?
Oh,
wow.
Yes, 2 episodes.
All right.
I'm not lying to you.
I believe you on the episodes. That part, let's just end on a point of agreement that you've had many episodes. And let me just say, I will watch this. We'll see any abnormal activity for February 22nd or then March 13th. I have put them as an alert on my phone, so they will both be popping up, and I'll keep an eye out for Brian the Messiah from Australia. And thanks for giving me all that time.